Good morning, all. Good to see you all. It's great to be here. We are going to share with you some exclusive research we did on AI. We've been hearing a lot about AI over the last 2 days, and it's really an amazing, amazing event. I want to kind of calibrate first with the audience. Who here uses AI in your daily life? Is anyone not raising their hand? Don't think so. Okay, now in the next second question. Who's used AI to help book or find travel? A little bit less. I use AI to help book travel, and it's really the fundamental, most important question that I have been trying to share for the last 25 years. The question I asked AI is, why travel to Fargo? People that know me know that I've always been trying to preach why we should travel to Fargo, and AI gets me. I love the answer. It said, traveling to Fargo may not be the most obvious choice, but there's kind of a point to that. It's one of those places that surprises people once you actually go. And it talks all about the things you can see and do in Fargo. So you won't be surprised about this AI evolution and AI in travel and AI how it's going to be. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of what's happening in it. You can't go through a day where you don't see a LinkedIn post or some kind of announcement that on the travel search side, AI is a topic that's evolving incredibly fast. That's because the technology is developing. It's not changing just how people search, but it's actually changing who's doing the searching. It's going from a person instituting search to the agent actually performing the search. And the most important piece of it is not only that, it's how the decisions are going to be made. And that's going to disrupt or change the way that we actually have to think about flight shopping in the future. So we're already seeing this shift. I'm going to try to put a little context. And we talked a lot about it the last couple of days. The AI is answering questions from AI to taking actions. That's what we're seeing happening. So in the typical travel search, you go in and you put in your flights, your dates, your destination, all that you want to do. But with Agentic AI search, it's going to be different. You're going to have interpreting the intent. Why do I want to go there? It's going to interpret your intent. It's going to search across multiple channels to try to find out what and how to satisfy that intent. It's going to compare and optimize the different options that you're going to have as a consumer, and it's going to retry if needed, and then over time it's going to initiate the booking. So basically, it's not going to be a human-driven activity. It's going to be AI that's going to propose opportunities for you in order to be able to find things. And it's actually going to reinvent how the top of the funnel or how the search will happen. So what happens when AI is not people that's shopping for flights? What we found is 3 things out of this research. 1, it's real enough to matter. It's happening now. It's not going to go away. You can't put a board over Agentic AI and saying, let's stop it. It's going to happen. It's going to be there. And it's real enough and happening already. It's early enough to help shape. I think we're all trying to figure out how to make this work as a new way to be able to sell and inspire travel, but it's early enough to shape. It's not set in stone yet, so we can get involved in doing it. And it's risky enough if they get it wrong. So there's some risks and some challenges with Agentic AI that if we get it wrong, we're going to have some challenges. Kristine's going to go through the exclusive research we did to kind of demystify what Agentic AI is, what's the status of it, and then how do we move it forward. Kristine.
Hey, thank you, Tom. Okay, so ultimately the shift towards Agentic AI and flight shopping will be driven by consumers, flight shoppers. That's the way that they want to search for travel. We saw when Tom did the show of hands in this room, we're already seeing demand signals. And research from PwC shows that 68% of flight shoppers expect to use AI to compare flights, and 57% expect to use AI to book travel. And I would imagine, based on the pace of change, those numbers have already probably gone up since this survey was done. So use of AI introduces a new layer in the shopping journey. AI agents acting on behalf of travelers. And that raises some structural questions. So who ensures that airline offers are represented correctly? Who absorbs the cost of automated shopping, and how does it change existing commercial models? Who owns the customer relationship, and who governs the system? Does anyone? Ultimately, this will create structural shifts in airline distribution. So a big challenge in having conversations about AI today and understanding this space is clarity. Agentic AI as a term is used loosely. I think some of the other panels alluded to that. So many solutions that are in the market today are actually conversational search, assisted planning, or workflow automation. And these definitely create improvements in customer experience and increased efficiency, but aren't really the structural change that I was mentioning. True agentic AI involves autonomous multi-step decision-making, dynamic adaptation, and minimal human intervention. And so while most are not there yet, pilots are increasing across the industry, announcements are accelerating, just like Tom showed earlier, and experimentation is widespread. So it's coming, and faster than we could have believed just a few years ago, and honestly, just a few months ago. So the real question that we are looking at here is not, can AI shop for flights? It's, can it do so in a way that the industry can trust and that can scale? So with all of this in mind, we set out to understand industry status, risks, and opportunities when it comes to agentic AI and flight shopping. So we conducted research across 4 dimensions. The first was airlines. We talked to 18 airlines globally. Next, we looked at system, channels, ecosystem partners, and this included some discussions and some market research as well. We assessed the standards environment, and then we also looked at technical maturity and capabilities. The primary research for this was done in December and January, but we've continued to conduct ongoing secondary market research and technical research since then. So, Brett looked a little bit at these stats yesterday, but going first to airlines. Of the 18 airlines that we talked to, 67% expect major industry impact. Of those airlines, 39% confirmed that they have active internal AI programs, but only 11 confirmed that they were actively working with external AI agents for shopping. So really, these findings are consistent with other research that we've been seeing, like Bain & Company's independent research, which showed that airlines are actively exploring AI, but remain cautious in committing to agentic use in flight shopping. So the key takeaway from our conversations here are airlines see the opportunity, but do not fully trust or understand the full operating model in terms of how it's all going to work yet. So looking at segment trends within the airlines, unsurprisingly, the large carriers were leading experimentation. The mid-sized carriers, there was some selective exploration, but it wasn't super widespread. And the smaller regional carriers were mostly observing at this point and kind of waiting to see how the industry evolves. So we did see 3 themes that were consistent kind of across everyone that we talked to. The first, which Tom mentioned, agentic AI and flight shopping is inevitable. There wasn't anyone that kind of thought that the cat could go back in the bag, so to say. Second, the distribution impact is uncertain. I think there's a lot of questions and concerns about the impacts on the ecosystem, which I'll go into a little bit more in a second. And then lastly, industry frameworks to ensure scalability and trusted results don't exist yet. Next, looking at systems and channels. Our discussions with systems and channels and the market research we did confirmed that ecosystem players are definitely moving faster. So we are already seeing use cases like embedding conversational AI, testing autonomous trip planning, and building agent frameworks and protocol behind the scenes to start to build the capability within the industry. But overall, these approaches are inconsistent and the standards are not yet aligned. So really, innovation is moving faster than governance. So agentic AI in shopping represents a real opportunity for the industry. I think we've heard about this from our panelists throughout. And if done right, it helps to enable smarter personalization, higher conversion, so really improving kind of the customer experience there. It can help with servicing and rebooking, both from an efficiency perspective, but also from the customer perspective. We can look at the ones that do it right. We'll see an improved loyalty and customer experience through their implementation. And then finally, operational efficiency through the automation that's enabled by agentic AI. But at the same time, there are risks. I think Skyscanner yesterday talked about the look-to-book pressure that could be coming via agent-driven shopping, right? The retry loops could put a lot of load on systems. That's a very real concern that many airlines have, and we've heard reiterated throughout the sessions. Another risk is data misinterpretation and inconsistent offers. Do agents understand how to interpret the airline data? Do they know where to go to get authoritative sources? We also have concerns with security and trust in agent behavior. Are agents acting in a way that are going to get the right results? Are there cybersecurity concerns based on the new technology? We also have regulatory exposure from opaque decisions, right? If it's not clear how the black box came to a decision, is that going to open up liability there? And then finally, the value chain disruption. And I think this is another thing that's been discussed a bunch, right? Who owns the customer? Who pays? And is there going to be channel shift related to all of this? And this was something that came up a lot in our conversations. So the bottom line here is there is really high upside, but there is also high structural risk and uncertainty. Okay, so standards are one way to start to address those risks. So standards and common protocols for agentic commerce are emerging, but not yet specifically for aviation. So some examples include MCP, which I think a lot of you have heard of from Anthropic, which is a protocol for AI models to interface with external tools and context. Specifically moving to commerce, there's UCP and AP2 from Google. OpenAI also has ACP, which starts to enable AI to shop and pay on a user's behalf in a standardized way. And then finally, the agent framework. So things like A2A for agent to agent and agent skills, which are standards for managing agent behavior and interaction. So all of these, you'll notice, are associated with tech companies. They are cross-industry and not airline-specific. So what's missing? As the people in this room know better than most, aviation is complicated. When you think about things like airline shopping requirements, ensuring consistency, accuracy, and trust in the process, making sure all the data is coming from the right places to produce the correct offers. When we think about servicing and the order lifecycle across a whole bunch of processes and partners and ecosystem players, and then finally, governance and compliance, and all the regulatory requirements that are on the industry. Right now, those standards have not been created by anyone with specific knowledge in those areas. So standards are being developed, but not by the industry. And the implication there is without industry input, these external standards might define airline retailing. And so the industry kind of needs to think if that's something that's acceptable or whether to try to take a more proactive role at this point. Okay, on to the review of technology and capabilities. We conducted discussions with some of our internal technical folks and identified 5 foundational capabilities that we believe are required for agentic commerce to work at scale for airlines. So the first is authoritative machine-readable data, which would be consistent interpretations of fares, rules, products, merchandising data for agents to use, right? So they're all using a source of data that has been validated and is known to be correct. The second is standardized governed access, a way for agents to plug in to reduce scraping and uncontrolled access, and this could start to potentially address some of the look-to-book concerns I mentioned earlier. The next is delegated identity and consent frameworks, so making sure that agents are able to act within defined authority. This could be on behalf of a flight shopper, making sure that the agent has the authority to go through the booking process, for example. And it could also be an agent-to-agent use cases where an agent is acting on behalf of another ecosystem partner, for example. The fourth one up here is durable transaction auditability. So making sure that there's traceability across the entire booking lifecycle so that all the industry processes work and can be audited all the way through the process. And then finally, shared conformance standards. So making sure that there's interoperability and validation across all the systems. So none of these things are really new, but applying them to AI is critical. So without them, the upside that I mentioned earlier will become harder to achieve, and those risks begin to look a lot bigger. Okay, now back to Tom.
So what does this mean for us in the future? I'll share a little bit on the Fargo story. I was amazed that the next question the AI asked me is, would you like me to plan a weekend trip? And it created a detailed agenda of where I should go see. I'm a baseball fan, and actually, I don't know, I said I like baseball. They said, point out the Roger Maris Museum in Fargo. I can go see that. It told me what restaurants I should go to. It suggested the hotel I should stay at, and it told me the flights I should take. I don't know how it came up with these. I don't know how it picked those. I don't know how it proposed it, but it was proposing to me a very good and detailed itinerary. And I think that's kind of the situation we're going to be in. Is it going to be a black box that we're going to say that this is how my products and services are going to be surfaced up to the customer, or are we going to start to get engaged? And we see that there's really three ways that this thing will evolve. One, it could be platform dominated. You can get the tech providers, the Agentic AI tech providers, they will come up with the frameworks, they will come up with standards, and they will come up with methodologies in order to unsurface this content, and they will have an appetite to go get content anywhere they want. We believe that that particular framework is going to create a black box where you will not be able to know how customers are going to be proposed solutions or not, and you will not be able to propose your best offer and put your highlights there. The other one is fragmented adoption, and we see that right now. We see that certain players are starting to interact with these technologies, and they're saying, how do I actually expose my content to that? Kristine mentioned it's more on the channel side or getting involved, doing their plugins in order to do this, but it's going to create a fragmented experience. You're not going to have equal access to all content. It's not going to be comparable and describable, and it will create friction, I would say, in the overall journey. We believe the best way is an aligned evolution. Let's share the wisdom. Let's share the wisdom of all of us that we're trying to do as in our experimentation. What works? What doesn't work? What are the capabilities we need to address? And then how do we best address them? And we think that is the only way that the industry will really get a good benefit from taking advantage of the new technology in order to create the next level of shopping. So, to be perfectly clear, ATPCO's mission has not changed. We are here to help the airlines make sure they get the right offer to the right customer at the right time. Agentic AI is just a new way to unsurface and enable that. ATPCO is not building agents. We will not be building an Agentic AI agent in order to do that, but we're here to ensure the agents work correctly in that mission of getting the right content, to the right offer to the right passenger at the right time, in this new world, in the new area. And Kristine kind of highlighted some of the opportunities we have as an industry in order to do this. We are going to look at these things and have ongoing discussion, dialogue, and experimentation to see how do we unlock some of these industry-needed capabilities. First and foremost, it's really data standards and semantic clarity. How do you really make sure that it is a fact-based evaluation that the Agentic AI is bringing into their decision set, so that way what there is proposed to the consumer is really what is going to be able to be delivered and serviced. We believe that there's going to be some shopping frameworks that'll have to be evolved. I wouldn't say it's a rigid standards, but there's going to be some frameworks to make sure that the connectivity and the flow for the Agentic AI workflow is able to be scaled and able to be plugged in for multiple channels and multiple airlines all at one time. We believe that there's going to be something on governed connectivity for agents. Just like there is today in the world, there will probably be good high-value agents, and there's going to be ones that are not so good and actually diluting the effectiveness of the offer. And there will be some kind of governance that will occur over time of when you turn on and turn off the agents in order to make that happen. We see that agent-ready offer data is going to be needed. This is going to change the paradigm. I don't see a world where we're going to be able to shop and do the way that we do calculations today for inspiration. Thinking about and inspiring a traveler where to go and kind of what the best offer and content is, that's going to have to bring the data to a new way of being able to be accessed and perform that top-of-funnel search. There's going to be agent-to-agent interoperability, and these external agentic AIs will talk to other agents, so how to make sure that they're talking efficiently will have to evolve. And then for ATPCO specifically, we are aggressively looking at AI and how we can apply that in our applications to make your ability to get content or create the offers much more effective in the marketplace. So ATP's role is just to ensure that we provide shared meaning, that way that the people will have a clear understanding of what are the products and services and what the airlines have to offer, and that has a shared meaning and understanding across all the agentic AI utilization of it. A shared infrastructure. We don't see that it's valuable for each one of us to build over and over again these capabilities. We believe that we can be a shared infrastructure that can help unlock that capability for the whole in order to make that happen. And we'd also believe in a shared governance. This is a shared governance where we'll share the learnings with all and learn from you as well and continue to evolve together and how to automate and create the Agentic AI experience great. Kristine covered a lot of the highlights from this research, but we're happy to share the research with you as well. Agentic AI will reshape flight shopping. The question is not whether, but how. We will evolve it through framework workarounds. Will we evolve it from opaque external layers, or are we going to do it from aligned, trusted infrastructure? And we believe the choice is still open, but it's not for long. So unless we align together and work together, I think we will find that we're going to have a fragmented and a less perfect experience. The research we did is just a starting point. It's a white paper that we have available for you. It has a lot more detail on the technical capabilities, the standards, as well as what we have done in the secondary research. Take that as your resource. Use that at home. Share that with your colleagues and friends and saying, how do we get involved? We would also like to make it a living document. So we want to share and understand your learnings, your experiences, and we'll continue to update and incorporate that and feed that out. We're actively looking to how to address some of these capabilities. We have experiments going on right now at ATPCO. It's how do we create a semantic layer on our data? How do we make sure that the data is fit for purpose for Agentic AI to be reading? We will share the outcomes of our findings, what worked, what didn't work with you, so you can help prepare and get your data ready as well. We will also then inviting you to get involved. What I'm asking each and every one of you, if you're not using Agentic AI for travel search yourself, do it. And I think you'll open up your eyes of what the capabilities are, what are the deficiencies of it. Use it in your everyday life, and you'll get much more experience to it. Just like when the internet came back in the 90s, we said this is the way it's going to shape travel and shopping. This is also going to shape travel and shopping. Get engaged. We're going to have a design team in May 20th where we're going to start to bring and share some of our findings on Agentic AI. Sit in that design team with us, and we'll share the outcomes with you. Get your feedback and understanding as well, and then also help us, challenge us, and provide your input so we can shape the future together. We encourage you to explore the findings of the white paper. We encourage you to have dialogue on this with us, and let us know how we can help shape the way for the airlines to get the right offer to the right customer at the right time through an Agentic AI experience. With that, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for Kristine for all the great research, and download the white paper and please get involved.